Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. It's Monday, June 13th, 2011. And a lot of us, our kids are out of school. We're spending time with them. Today's parable, we're in Matthew 25. The parable of the talents would be a great one to share with your children. And it's a good one, of course, to apply to your own life. We're in verse 14, Matthew 25. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him, and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now bear in mind, this is a parable. So you can't always make exact one-for-one correlations. But what we see here is we see the master giving 3 different individuals money. Talents back then was a unit of money. But the application would be that God gives us all things. He gives us money, He gives us abilities, He gives us intellect, He gives us His Word, He gives us talents, which we can do different things. And they're all different for everybody. And they're not all the same amounts. But everybody's got at least one. And I suspect most of us have quite a few. But we all got something we can do or something we can give for God. And He doesn't want us to be lazy. Lazy is when you don't use what God has given you. Now, the fact is, if you've got money, God's given you the money. It's not your money. And He expects you to use it for Him. And He will bless you and give you more. See, that's the idea there. But there's a risk. You could use it for Him and then He doesn't give you more. But you'll get it in heaven if you don't get it now. See, you still got to use it for Him. You can't be lazy. You can't go bury it. You can't do nothing with it. If He's given you a talent, say for speaking, as I have, He expects me to use it as I do every day on these Take 5 broadcasts and in other ways. Now, can I mess up? Sure. And I've said things on here that I wish I hadn't said, but I'm not going to go back and erase them because, I'm open to criticism. I've written things that I probably shouldn't have written. So, but I've written plenty of good things too. So and that's the way it is. You use what God's given you, and you're going to mess up sometimes, you see. But God can still bless that. But what He doesn't want is you being lazy. And a lot of, like I say, share this with your kids because your kids have different talents. I've got 3 kids and they're all different. They all can do different things. And sometimes they get jealous of each other. And I say, God made you different. They're not all at the same level intellectually. They're not all at the same level athletically. They're not all as creative. But they each got their own thing going, And God expects you to use it. But for Him, not for your own glory. And when you do that, He'll bless you with more. But even when He blesses you with more, He expects you to use the more for Him. Some of you have been blessed with a lot of money. Well, use that money. give help people in need, or give gifts to people and encourage them, or open your home and let people stay with you. Show hospitality. But to, use that money. If you've got musical abilities, use it to play songs that praise God and honor God and worship God, and encourage other people. If you've got, say, math skills or something like that, well, help people with their budgets and things like that. Don't just use them. See, a lot of us use these gifts in the workplace for our own benefit, and that's good. God does want us to take care of ourselves, but then we don't use them in the church. There are people, and this is the frustrating thing I know for those that lead churches. There are people who lead in their field, in their work field. They're some kind of supervisor or managerial position. God's given them the ability to lead, and yet they refuse to lead in His church when they could. But they don't want the responsibility. That's kind of wicked and lazy. Now, I'm not going to judge you. Like I said, and this is a parable. But just look at it. Look at your life. Are you maxing out? I love that phrase. Are you maxing out for God? Are you using everything God has given you to His glory? Ask Him to show you. And you'll have more fun, because it's the funnest thing in the world when you start using your gifts for Him, and He'll bless you. All right. Tremendous passage, tremendous parable. One certainly you could share with your children, and I encourage you to do so. Come back tomorrow. We're going to be talking more about judgment tomorrow, unfortunately. But it's a reality, so we need to be prepared on the next edition of Take 5.